Okay, so if you haven't seen interval notation ever or in a long time, I hope you watched the last video that gave a little bit longer of an introduction. But I wanted to go through the 5 types of intervals that we'll probably see most often in this course for a quick review or just to kind of put them all in one place. So one thing that we'll often see is that we'll want to talk about all real numbers. Another way we might say this is that we want to talk about everything from negative infinity to positive infinity. Now, if we think about a number line, that is the whole number line, right? So negative infinity would be that way to the left, positive infinity would be to the right. We can never actually reach negative infinity or positive infinity. I always say that the only person who can is Buzz Lightyear because he goes to infinity and beyond, but we can't, so we use parentheses. So here our interval would be from negative infinity to infinity, and that would be all real numbers. Okay, then we might see something like all numbers less than 3. So if we think of the number line, maybe this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. We have -1, so forth. So less than 3. We want 3, but we're not going to include it since it doesn't say including 3. So we could put an open dot or you could put a parenthesis there, and we want everything left, everything less than. Now, we always read our graphs from left to right, just like you're reading. So here we're going to start at negative infinity and go up to 3, but not include it. So negative infinity up to 3. When we don't include something, we put a parenthesis. Okay, the next one says all numbers greater than or equal to 5. So if we draw our number line, so greater than or equal to 5 would be 5, including 5, so that would be a closed-in dot or a bracket, and everything to the right, everything getting bigger, all the way up to infinity. So we're going to start at 5, and since we're including it, we're going to use a bracket, and then we're going to go up to infinity, which remember for infinity, we always use parentheses. Okay, this next one says all numbers between 3 and 5, but not including 3 or 5. So if we look at the number line, I'm just going to put 3, 4, and 5 on here. Okay, we don't want to include 3 or 5, but we want everything in between them. So we always go from left to right, not including, we're going to do parentheses, so 3 up to 5. And this set is where sometimes you have to think about context because sometimes when we see parentheses here, they mean an ordered pair, an x and a y, but that's not what it is. This means all numbers between 3 and 5. Okay, and then the next one that we'll sometimes see is we'll want all numbers except for 5. Maybe we want to leave out 5, or it could be another number for certain reasons. So if we think of a number line, and we have 5, okay, we don't want 5, so I'm going to put an open dot there, but we want everything less than 5. And everything bigger than 5. Okay, so if we want, remember we go from left to right, so we're going to start all the way down at negative infinity. Okay, then we're going to travel along and say, uh-oh, we have to stop at 5. We don't want 5. So we're going to put a 5, and we don't want 5, so we're going to put a parenthesis. Okay, now we've still got more. Whenever we have more, we put a little U for union between them. We say, okay, we don't want 5, but we want 5, and we want everything bigger than 5. So we start with 5 again, and we go to infinity. So doing this where we go from negative infinity up to a number, use a parenthesis to leave it out, and then restart at that number with the parenthesis to leave it out, and up to infinity, that's the way we can leave out a number.